First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
Sunshine continued again today with very warm temperatures. Currently sitting in the lower 80s and upper 70s across mid-Michigan, but as you can see, wall-to-wall sunshine again today. Some other numbers around the area: Grand Rapids at 80 degrees, 82 in Jackson, 80 Detroit, Adrian at 81 degrees. Satellite radar quiet except for some cloud cover to our west, and this is going to shift in our direction over the next 24 hours. Tonight's forecast then mostly clear for the bulk of the overnight hours. Clouds will begin to increase by early tomorrow morning as temperatures dip into the lower 50s. Cloud cover's on the way, but will there be any rain with it? 6 News at 5 starts right now.
WLNS is here for you, celebrating 75 years of bringing you the news with 6 News at 5.
From Washington, D.C. to Lansing, Michigan, lawmakers seem to be unable to reach agreements to keep both the state and federal governments open past midnight tonight. It's our top story at 5. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jorma Duran. We have team coverage on the state and federal budget tonight, and we begin in Lansing, where things are looking a little better for a deal. Governor Gretchen Whitmer has told state employees to show up for work tomorrow because there either will be a budget deal or a continuation budget to keep the government open. The best in the business, Tim Skubic, our Capitol correspondent, has been at the Capitol all day long. He joins us now live with the report, and great to see you, Tim. What's the very latest?
Jorma, that memo is really important tonight because what it basically says when you boil it all down is that at midnight tonight, state government will continue. No shutdown. What the memo doesn't say is how are they going to write a new budget. Basically, she said if we're going to do a continuation budget, that gives us more time. There might be a deal tonight, but that's probably not likely either. But it was a very busy day at our Capitol, and here's part of what was going on. To be sure, the demonstrators were out in force on the Capitol lawn at the state capitol protesting what was going on inside. Inside the Capitol, teachers wanted the state legislature to finish what they could have done on July 1st, which is give them their money in the state aid budget. Meanwhile, the inside skinny was the governor and 2 legislative leaders were getting very close to finishing their job of writing a new budget. But there's another problem. The governor and legislative leaders are busy working on a plan to keep the government open. This probably is the most important office right now in state government because whatever deal they come up with has to be drafted and written here so that lawmakers can look at something to vote on. And it could take some time before that happens.
Seeing the details, so hoping to see a strong budget where revenue sharing is high, we work out roads funding that doesn't take from schools, and a budget that works for working class people. We'll see what happens.
If you don't see this document before you vote, are you a no vote?
Yes, I'm not going to vote on something blindly. I need to see the details.
Meanwhile, lawmakers went back to their state offices waiting for word on what's happening. Maybe some of them were also watching the Tigers game. Meanwhile, the governor possibly could do a continuation budget, which basically says we'll buy more time while we work out this deal. This state senator says if that's the option, yeah, he'll take it. Do a continuation to buy you some more time. Does that sound good to you?
That's probably, I don't prefer that. I prefer to be done with this months ago. But if that's what we need to do to make sure we get a budget done, we have to do that.
Well, you avert the shutdown.
We can't afford a shutdown in the state.
So the talking continues and the clock keeps ticking. Here for you in Lansing, Tim Skubic, 6 News. So we're waiting to see what happens tonight. Will lawmakers stay in town? If they get a deal, they might. But as we pointed out in that piece, the most important thing for legislators, they want to see the details. They want to know what they're voting on before they vote. But the bottom line, no government shutdown at midnight tonight. So all the lawmakers that brought those sleeping bags probably don't have to use them. Back to you, Jorma.
Tim, thank you very much. Michigan could soon have the second highest marijuana tax rate in the nation, just behind the state of Washington. So hundreds gathered at the state capitol today to tell lawmakers about the negative impact the new tax would have on them. Our Kylie Shapansky was there and is here for you now live in our studio with what their concerns are. Good evening, Kylie.
Jorma, emotions ran high at the Capitol today. Cannabis workers and advocates tell me the new 24% wholesale tax would have a devastating effect on an already reeling sector. The tax increase was passed by the State House last week. That's in addition to the 10% excise and 6% sales tax customers currently pay. The House Fiscal Agency says the wholesale tax would generate an estimated $420 million a year, which would go towards funding the roads. But opponents say this tax would cause smaller businesses to close and result in a major loss of jobs in the cannabis industry. They argue it could cause people to turn to illegal sources for their weed.
They're going to have to pay more and then possibly go to the black market because they're not going to be able to afford to buy it at a retailer that's been tested and trusted, what's in it and what's not in it, and it's going to send everybody back to the street, which is going to just unregulate everything and just create more crime.
The Senate is expected to vote on the bill tonight as part of the state budget, and if passed, it would go into effect January 1st of this coming year.
All right, thank you very much for the update. Moving now to the halls of Congress in Washington, where a shutdown is looking more and more likely as Republicans and Democrats remain at odds over how to fund the government. Democrats are pushing for the extension of health care subsidies, while Republicans want to extend current funding levels for 7 weeks. Our team coverage continues with Erica Brown.
With a possible government shutdown just hours away, top Democrats and Republicans are placing blame on each other for the stalemate.
If Republicans cause a shutdown, they'll probably keep lying and distracting because they know we're on the side of the American Democrats are on the side of the American people.
We just heard the minority leader come to the floor of the Senate, once again refusing to admit it's the Democrats who are driving America into a shutdown.
To avert a shutdown, the Senate could pass a Republican measure Tuesday that extends federal funding at its current level until mid-November. But Democrats are demanding the bill include an extension of Affordable Care Act benefits expiring this year and reverses cuts to Medicaid.
We're not going to support a partisan Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people. Not now, not ever.
A government shutdown would mean non-essential government services would be disrupted and thousands of federal workers could be furloughed. The White House has also threatened mass firings at some federal agencies if no deal is reached.
Nothing is inevitable, but I would say it's probably likely because they want to give health care to illegal immigrants, which will destroy health care for everybody else in our country.
A day after meeting with congressional leaders at the White House, President Trump again suggested a shutdown is likely. Any measure taken up by the Senate to keep the government open would need bipartisan support or 60 votes to pass before heading to the president's desk. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Lansing City Clerk Chris Swope and leaders with Lansing Community College continued a multi-day voter registration drive today at the downtown campus. There will be one more event tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. outside of the Arts and Sciences building. Also, absentee ballot applications and information about voting at home, voting early, pre-voter registration for 16 and 17 years old, and online voter registration will be available on site.
From Storm Tracker 6, this is Weather First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
As we talked about the past few days, the overall trend is still going to be towards warmer than average weather over the next week or two. However, there are some cool downs to talk about. First, let's talk about the warm weather. Tomorrow mid-70s, still mild, upper 70s on Thursday. The weekend is summer-like with highs in the mid-80s. Next week, we do drop substantially into the upper, perhaps the mid-60s next Wednesday and Thursday. But by then, our average high is around 64 degrees. So those numbers as well will be just slightly above normal. Let's take a little different look at why this is happening, because this time of the year, now we're looking at the North Pole. There's the U.S. at the bottom. Looking at the jet stream and some temperatures aloft, and we start to worry more about the polar vortex as we get into late fall and winter. That's usually the cause for our big Arctic air outbreaks. We track that all year long, however, and as we put this in motion, jet stream, there's one area of low pressure, big trough. That's where the dips are, where the ridges are. That's where we typically associate high pressure and perhaps even warmer weather. As we move through Wednesday, notice we are still firmly entrenched on the warm side of things, cool in the northeastern U.S. Here's where the pattern changes change begins to come, though. We'll let this roll along Thursday into Friday, a dip just to our north, but not quite getting here. But by Saturday into Sunday, another kink in the jet stream begins to pull some cooler air to the south. And so as we move from Saturday into Sunday, now we start to see that trough getting deeper. Area of low pressure forms with the trough and a cold front, and that's going to push through early next week and give us a chance for those 60s returning. And once we get into this cooler weather pattern, we may be in it for quite a while with lots of 60s in the forecast for next week. The satellite and radar today, quiet once again, some clouds and a few showers to our west, but we're still looking at just mainly cloud cover out there. As we zoom in just a little bit, you can notice the cloud cover by 7 o'clock, maybe still partly cloudy skies, but becoming mostly cloudy. And then through the day, we'll be with the mostly cloudy skies, not totally cloudy, but more clouds and sun certainly. Wednesday into Thursday, this cloud bank may not shift out of the area on Thursday, so we'll be mostly cloudy in the morning. If we're lucky, some sunshine though in the afternoon, then clouds will decrease by Thursday evening, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday look great with lots of sunshine. Temperatures currently sitting in the upper 70s and low 80s. Cool spot St. John's at 77 degrees, 82 Jackson, 81 for Charlotte. On the Capitol Cam, you can see blue skies, temperature 79. Northeast winds though at 12 miles per hour and peaked at 17, so a little gusty out there. In Grand Ledge, lots of clear skies, temperature at 79 degrees with light winds. Jackson Cam sporting a little fall foliage at 82. Northeast winds at 13 miles per hour. And in Hillsdale, blue skies, temperature now at 80 degrees. Forecast for tonight, overnight low, cool, 52 degrees. As we head into tomorrow, temperatures will be warm once again, but not as warm. Highs in the low to the mid 70s by the afternoon with mostly cloudy skies expected. The 6-day forecast, weekend, get out and enjoy. Highs are warm, low temperatures near 60 degrees Saturday and Sunday morning. Rain showers Tuesday, Wednesday, clears out. A few more showers possible next weekend, but the trend is towards more seasonal weather once we get through with this weekend.
All right, well, we're going to enjoy it then.
We are.